Alrighty. I know it's been a couple weeks. Welcome back. Um, a lot has happened. I feel like shows like this kind of have to be almost every day because there's something happening literally every day. I mean, just last week we were talking about uh Trump deciding to apparently take over Gaza and ethnically cleanse all of the Palestinians from there. Um, Google has now changed its name to Gulf of America in Google Maps. Um, they have gotten rid of like all the trans things they've gotten rid of trans people from the army. They've gotten rid of all of the trans related healthcare and terminology in all of the documents that they are starting to spread around. Now it's called LGB, apparently. There's no T.
Yeah,
Um,
there's nothing else. Just ended up to be.
yeah. Yeah. The USAID is getting gutted, which seems to be perfect timing with Elon Musk and Twitter working out a deal with Visa, I believe it's Visa, in order to create like a credit card or a way for payments to be processed through Twitter. And of course, they're starting to get rid of the consumer banking. I'm blanking on the exact name, but the consumer banking system. So it's just a lot of things going on. Um, I guess where we could start is, do you think Trump will actually go through with removing all the Palestinians from Gaza?
Like using American forces to do that? No. Do I think he would just get the Israelis to do it? Probably. One that would be the cleanest for him, and in some ways, the posturing of Israel can do basically whatever. It can, more or less acknowledging that what happened in Gaza and occurred in Gaza is a genocide, was saying that there's nothing left, people can't live there. Um, and then sitting here trying to broker these deals with, if you don't know anything about the region, okay, sure. But Jordan and Egypt are not going to sit there and just accept people into their borders that one is going to destabilize their own nations. And beyond that, then they will be an accomplice to ethnically cleansing the Palestinians, which would not go well for public sentiment or, overall morality.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what you see here is America attempting to kind of flex its muscles in like a really dumb way. Like, what strategic goal is there for settling Gaza? What strategic goal is there for America to be involved in Gaza? There's no benefit to either peace in the region or stability. It does neither of those things. Um, but what I do think, we should look at is it's really just Donald Trump operating from the way he's always operated. It's a business transaction. There is no attachment to the land. There's no concern or care for the people that are there because he's doing it like a real estate deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already talked about it like being the Riviera, of the Middle East and all these different things. It's like he's using this terminology that seems to me to be just literally basically the playbook that Jared Kushner was talking about and discussing where it has a lot of potential. And it's like, yeah, it does. Why don't we build the Riviera of the Sea or the Riviera of the Middle East for Palestinians? Like, why don't we help in the construction of better and sustainable, you know, governing in that region? There is a role for America to play in that region and like establishing Gaza and making sure there's a peace process and it goes to the next levels. But we already know that like Trump is angling to be just basically completely pro-Israeli, and they can do basically whatever they want.
Yeah, which is, I think that's what's difficult for me to kind of comprehend because, I mean, his whole campaign was about America first, America first, America first. But, he talked about removing all the Palestinians from Gaza. And just the other day, it was either Monday, Sunday or Monday, after um, Hamas refused to honor the ceasefire and return hostages, suddenly, Trump is saying, he's like, well, they can do whatever the hell they want. I think I'm failing to understand where the America First is in there and whether or not Trump is, if on Saturday, because he gave them a timeline of this Saturday, if on Saturday, if Hamas doesn't honor the peace agreement, the ceasefire for the time being, um, what happens next?
Mhm.
Is Trump suddenly going to start actually funding the that war over in Gaza again? Is he really going to put a lot more money in there? Because I mean, now that he has both the House and the Senate, he has the power to do exactly that, and it looks like Netanyahu is kind of using him as his little puppet to get exactly what he wants: more military force, or at least weapons from the United States, and more money in order to continue to fight this. So, like, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this Saturday, do you think that by Saturday, Hamas listens to Trump's bluff, or do you think that the ceasefire ends on this Saturday and we see something we've never seen?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's something we've never seen. I mean, it would really probably just be Israel conducting military strikes, things like that. What exactly that constitutes or what they would want to get into. I'm not exactly sure, but I do think that why would Hamas not question the ceasefire?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about ethnically cleansing the Gaza Strip. You're talking about getting rid of all those people. What Hamas in some ways is fighting for that land, right? The ability for Palestinians to be on that land, and as well as committing egregious crimes and things like that, and not doing it any way that I could support. But my point still stands is that
Yeah.
why they're thinking the same things strategically as Israel would be thinking about longevity of how long is this war and like goals, right? Um, and I think with what Hamas would is seeing from America owning Gaza, why would you stop fighting? What's the incentive when you don't think that the partner who says I'm going to help you out, I'm going to get a peace deal, all these different types of things, when they're not going to uphold their side of the bargain and hold and rein in Israel?
Yeah.
Why would you in some ways? Because I mean, Trump is already borderline threatening like that he'll do some sort of actions towards Iran, and if Iran assassinates him, that we should obliterate it. Um, After you're dead, I feel like you don't have to start a world war because you're dead. I mean,
Right.
that's a little bit too much for me. Um, but I also think that you would like to probably have strategic allies in those regions, right? Like Republicans seem to scream about Israeli allyship and how we need to protect them, but it like screw all the other allies we have. It's like Israel can do no wrong, which is concerning because they tend to be an ally who, you know, it's not like they're looking out for America's best interest in a lot of times when they're conducting their policy within the region.
Yeah.
Um, so, I guess unfortunately we'll see what happens until Saturday. But I mean, the ceasefire, as Trump said, was never going to hold. It, it's never going to sit there and hold if you don't have those parties kind of keeping it in control. And when you have somebody just basically green lighting it, um, you know, I don't understand how you can have a ceasefire and then have basically it's a ceasefire, but I also retain the right to bomb you whenever I need to. Like
Yeah.
that's just like a gun against your head. Like,
What's it's interesting to me, and I think this is I want to get back to this, but I want to ask you something because I was reading um a news article, and some people are saying Trump might be arguably the smartest president we've had in a very long time because right now, more than anything, everyone is blaming Elon Musk and Doge for everything, right? Everybody looks at Elon Musk as the co-president. They look at him as the puppet master. Time magazine had him behind in the Oval Office, behind the big desk. Um, Whenever Trump does something wrong that people absolutely hate, right now, everyone is going after Doge. They're going after Elon Musk, whether it's gutting USAID, whether it's all of these 22-year-old hackers and programmers having access to all of our information in the treasury. Everyone right now is looking at Elon Musk as the person who's causing the most issues, while on the other side, Donald Trump is doing stupid things like naming the Gulf of Mexico to a Gulf of America. I'm almost about to conform to that Gulf of America thing. It's kind of funny. But I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think that Donald Trump is playing the long game and having a scapegoat? Because right now it looks like everything that's like that every government program that's being gutted, it seems like it's Elon Musk at the head of that. Uh, and people are blaming him, right? Everyone right now hates Elon Musk more than they hate Donald Trump. At least I feel like every time I log on to Twitter, every time I log on
Yeah,
to
I mean, I would say
Facebook.
the polling overall does seem to show that Elon is a bit more negative than like some people feel like maybe Trump's going to be okay, but Elon's a little questionable. Like,
Yeah.
even Republicans are kind of laughing at. I'll just self-regulate when there's a conflict of interest. Self-regulate. We know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But I also think that like Elon Musk got what he paid for. So like what do you think? You don't think Donald Trump enjoys that limelight a whole lot more than he likes actual governing or policy or actually getting rid of stuff? And if you just ignore court orders and you don't have to go to Congress to do any of this stuff, you can just contract it out to your billionaire sugar daddy to do it for you. Why wouldn't you? Donald Trump likes the limelight and flying over the Gulf of Mexico and then saying it's the Gulf of America, look how great it is, and then flying to the Super Bowl and getting cheered because you're the president and everybody has to respect you and all these different things, and we have to act like this shit's not crazy. Like, who cares? I don't care if it's named the Gulf of America, the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of Mex-America. I couldn't care.
Tex-Mex. We'll call it Tex-Mex.
Um, but I mean, I think, interestingly enough, it ties back to Netanyahu. There was a conversation between Elon Musk and Netanyahu on stage last year, I believe it was. And Netanyahu's interviewing Elon and says, you can't run for president because he's not born here, right? And Elon says, not officially.
I do remember that.
What do you think he was just sending all this money for nothing? Like, oh, well, Donald Trump's gonna get in there. No, no, no. He made a deal. I don't know what it is, but there's some sort of deal between those two because one, no other person has Donald Trump given that limelight to in the same way that he did it today in that interview. Sitting there and letting Elon, which Elon's not the best at talking to press and especially within the political field. Um, you can kind of see he stumbles. He's not as charismatic as Trump is, or entertaining. Um, but I think you see that, and I don't know if it's going to last. There's too many. This is a personality filled administration completely.
Yeah.
That's why he picked a lot of the people. It's because they can perform these certain roles, they can get the attention, they can get that stardom.
Yeah.
It's why he recruits Dr. Phil to go on like ice raids and things like that because he's trying to get attention. It's an attention economy out there, and in a lot of ways, like that's what he's doing. And unfortunately, like it kind of works. People don't actually care if you resolve the issue; they just care that you postured and told them that you resolved the issue.
Yes, I cannot. That is the one
Like they
issue.
will take, even if the issue's still there, they'll be like, "Oh, well, he said it's fixed, right?" Like letting a bunch of water out when you don't know anything about that, like